Congratulations on purchasing your Rostech wireless IP security system. Once you receive your order, it'll come in a box similar to this. And inside the box, you will find your network video recorder, sometimes referred to as an NVR. And inside the NVR box will be a unit similar to this. It may differ slightly depending on the model that you purchase, and it has most of its connectors on the back. It will come equipped with a mouse to control the system and a power supply that comes in two pieces, and it just plugs together to provide power to the unit. You will also receive a box similar to this, and inside this box is a unit which is the receiver to receive the signals of the camera, and its power supply, referred to as a PoE injector or power over Ethernet injector. It also comes in two pieces and just plugs together, as well as the wall mounting kit that gets installed on the receiver. You will receive your transmitter, and that gets plugged near the camera side, and is very similar and gets connected to the camera side, as I mentioned, and has the identical other accessories inside its box. You will receive the appropriate amount of cables for your system, and as well, of course, the camera itself. The camera is similar to this. It could also be a larger version depending on the model you purchase, or it could be a PTZ, pan tilt zoom camera. But essentially the camera is the camera unit with its cabling. And when you do the connection, eventually talked about later on, of connecting the regular cable to the camera, we will highly recommend that this be installed over that connection to weatherproof it. You will also find inside your box a Rostech product guide, which will instruct you on the use of the system and installation. And as well, you should know that your system has been configured and tested by a Rostech technician, and it has been pre-configured to make it easier for you for setup. So we ask that you not make any changes to the configuration either before or during the setup, so that it remains intact. Also recommend that the system be installed inside prior to taking your system and installing it outside, and taking your cameras and installing them on 40-foot poles or wherever you're going to be installing them, so that we can ensure that nothing has been altered during shipping or for whatever other reason, just to ensure everything's working. Get it set up inside your place and ensure that it's working properly. And if you need any help, of course, feel free to contact us. Now we will wire the system, starting with the receiver and the network video recorder. So we will plug the power of the network video recorder. We'll take its power transformer and we plug it into the back of the network video recorder. And then we take the other end and plug it into your power source. For here, I'm showing you a power bar, but you can plug it into a regular outlet on your wall, and you just plug it to the power source. You then take the cable that you'll use to plug your network video recorder to your monitor. And you can use either an HDMI cable that looks like this, or you can use a VGA type cable that looks like this. If you're using an HDMI cable, then you will plug it on the back of the NVR where it says HDMI, and you'll plug that one end into the HDMI port, and the other end will go to your monitor or TV on the appropriate HDMI input on your monitor or TV. If you're using a VGA cable, then of course you'll take the VGA cable and plug it into the VGA port on the back of the NVR, and the other end will normally be connected already to your monitor, and or if you're plugging it to a TV, you'll have to plug the other end to your TV. We'll then take the mouse and connect the mouse to what we call the USB port, which is on the back of your unit, and it just connects onto the back of your unit. And we will power the receiver, and the receiver has a little door on the back of it. The door just pushes open to reveal certain ports, and you'll take the PoE injector, which is basically a power device. You'll plug it into power. So we're plugging it into a power source. You'll take a cable provided and plug it into, there's two ports on the back of the PoE injector. One says PoE, which is this one, and the other one says LAN, which is this one. For the power portion, you're going to take the cable and you're going to plug it into the port marked PoE. And then you're going to take the other end of that same cable and plug it into the yellow port of the receiver. And now, essentially, you've provided power to your receiver. You'll take another cable, a standard cable that's provided inside the box, and you're now going to connect the receiver so it can bring the video of your cameras into the network video recorder. So you take the cable and you plug it into the other port available on the receiver, and the other end of that cable gets connected into the back of the network video recorder in port number 1. You'll see that on this unit, because it's a 4-channel unit, you have 4 ports all together in the same location, and they're identified as port 1, 2, 3, and 4. They say PoE ports, and you can just take the cable of the coming from the receiver and plug it into port number 1. And that concludes the portion of connecting the receiver and the NVR. Now we will wire the camera to the transmitter. Now the camera will become a wireless camera, but it still needs to be wired from the camera to the transmitter, which will send the signal wirelessly thousands of feet, miles, kilometers, etc., to the receiver. But where we'll start with is the transmitter needs to be provided power. So you take the power cable of the transmitter and you plug it to a power source. So I'll show the power source now as the power bar, but it can be plugged into any electrical outlet, 110 volt electrical outlet. Once plugged to the electrical outlet, you take a cable and you plug the cable to the PoE injector on the port indicated as PoE. There is one port that's indicated as PoE, shown here on the box, and then the other port is indicated as the LAN port. So you plug the cable into the PoE port, and then you plug the other end of the cable into the yellow connection on the back of the receiver, on the back of the transmitter. You remove this little door that's on the back, and then you plug the cable into the yellow port on the back in the back of the transmitter. For the camera, you take another cable, you plug it to the camera, Remember to insulate this with the weatherproof connection that comes with the camera. And then the other end can be plugged to the other open port on the transmitter, the black port on the transmitter. Now, depending on the model that you've received, if it came with a power transformer, then you power the camera by plugging in the power transformer into the camera, and then plugging the power transformer into a power source, a 110 volt power source. If your camera did not come with a power transformer, then the cable that's plugging in the camera to the transmitter will be receiving power from the transmitter and no longer doesn't need an additional power transformer to power it. If you have additional cameras, follow the steps on connecting those additional cameras the same way as we demonstrated to connect it to the transmitter, and follow those steps. Now we will discuss about the lights on the back of the transmitter and receiver. You'll notice that on the back of the transmitter you have these various lights that can be illuminated. It is very important that the power light be on and solid, that the WLAN light be on and flashing, and that depending on how you install the cable for the camera, either the LAN or the LAN 2 light be on and flashing. After that, you have this section of lights here, which indicate the power strength of the signal. Now, because we're doing this on a desk and the receiver and transmitter are next to each other, it's showing us that not light number, not 1, 2, 3, but light number 4 at the top of the bar is illuminated. When light number 4 is illuminated, it indicates that the power is too strong. And if light number 1 is illuminated, it means the signal strength is too weak. And even if you have lights number 1 and 2 illuminated, the signal strength is probably not adequate to provide a proper signal. We recommend that you have either lights 3 and 4. So if you will have a signal strength of 3, that means lights 1, 2, and 3 will be all illuminated, and that means that you have very good signal strength. If you have signal strength 4, which is perfect signal strength, then lights number 1, 2, 3, and 4 will all be illuminated, and you'll have perfect signal strength. The receiver has the same lights, and everything that was just discussed with the transmitter lights applies to the receiver as well. A few important notes. It is important for optimum results to have a clear line of sight between your transmitter and your receiver. Yes, they can be a kilometer apart, a mile apart, and longer, sometimes much longer than that. But it's important that they're facing each other and that there be little obstructions between them. You will unlikely get results if you have a large forest between the transmitter on the camera side and the receiver on the network video recorder side. Also, please ensure to put the PUE injectors and the power sources for all the products, whether they be the receivers, transmitters, NVRs, in a weatherproof environment, whether they be inside the building and not subjected to water, temperatures that exceed the normal temperature readings for it, and or any other inclement weather, etc. If you would like to view your camera system on your mobile phone or tablet or other, we will have in the future other videos that will address that. I thank you very much for purchasing your system.